What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ink, Drink, Think, episode 23. Tonight, four comic book artists are sitting down to talk about the highly anticipated Zack Snyder's Justice League, as well as the entirety of the DC Extended Universe. As always, guys, I'm your host, Michael Pickard, and tonight I'm joined by my wonderfully talented co-hosts and friends, Johnny Wise. You have the floor.
Hey, I'm Johnny. Tonight I am going to be drawing Steppenwolf. I haven't seen Justice League, but I've seen pictures. And I'm kind of doing it like etching, kind of old style. The idea is like if like you saw like a book of like old like hellish pictures of what all of the characters, the apocalypse characters are like, and then you get one of like Steppenwolf. He's going to be stood on like a bunch of skulls and bones and stuff. Very Gustav Dorn. And tonight I'm drinking a Hop House. And I'm excited to get into this one.
Great, man. I'm so psyched to see it. I know I saw your head of Steppenwolf earlier, and it's coming along great so far. So
Thanks, man. Yeah, getting there.
I'm sure the audience is going to love it. But, guys, as always, we're also joined by fellow co-host and friend, Nate Wells.
Hey guys, Nate Wells. Today I'm drawing Henry Cavill as Superman because I'll take any excuse to draw Superman on the show or any day. I don't need an excuse. I draw Superman a lot. If you're not following me, you would know that. But yeah, I'm drawing him that cool black suit he's going to be wearing in the Snydercut instead of the red and blue, which I would prefer. But I'll draw him in the black suit to celebrate what is going to be just the best movie that we have ever seen. Yeah, because we didn't see it 4 years ago or whatever. It's a new movie. And it's anyway, I'm drinking a Shiner to convince myself of all those things I just said. It's going to be the best movie ever.
It's going to be the greatest movie of all time, everybody. You heard it here first.
I'm not going to be disappointed in it at all. In no way am I going to be disappointed in it.
Stay positive.
Yeah, it's all about how you look at things.
Right.
But
all about mindset.
All about mindset, guys, and somebody who knows quite well about looking at the world through a distorted lens. Teacher Todd himself, Todd Blackwood.
Hey guys. So I did an old Aquaman sketch a long time ago that I really liked, and I decided to do an updated version of it because this was drawn before I went digital. So there's the new one, and I told the guys before the episode that there's a lot of adjustments I'm gonna make, but I think Frazetta is kind of where I'm coming from with this. Maybe this is not going to be Jason Momoa, and that's okay. I like that guy. I like his version. I'm not a giant fan of the Snydercut, as we'll probably get into, but I love those characters and I love Aquaman, and I'd love to be surprised. I'd love to see that the movie's actually great, and I should give it a chance. So I'm going to be positive about that. I also got new glasses, so I can
Nice.
They look very good.
Yeah, you look spiffy, my friend.
It's very strange. It's a very strange feeling. Those were cheap bifocals I was wearing before.
Now you can actually see the crazy colors you mess around with.
I know. Who are you guys?
Yeah.
This is what we look like.
I've been drawn like this the whole time.
Todd, it looks great so far, man. And knowing you, it's going to be a crazy take on the fish king of the sea.
It'll be interesting.
That's for sure, guys. But impromptu, we didn't plan this. I'm also drawing Aquaman tonight. Like I said, I'm Michael Pickard. Drawing my man, Jason Momoa as Aquaman. It's got to be Jason Momoa. He's ridiculous and insane, but you have to love him. He brings that character to life in a way that I don't think he could have cast anybody else in this DCEU as Aquaman. It's perfect. It's perfect for what it is, and you have to love it.
Yes.
But guys, I'll flip around my camera here real quick to get into the topic at hand. I need to ask you first and foremost, are you fans of the DCEU?
No.
Yes and no. Yes and no. I really like Man of Steel. I've got my issues with it, but I thought it was a good effort for that movie was largely a response, I think, to Superman Returns and how sort of like soft Superman Returns was. And I think for what they were trying to do, it accomplished that. So I was super excited for Batman v Superman when it came out. And I am still, these guys actually know, even this morning, I was trying to convince myself that Batman v Superman is good. And, you know, that year
okay.
we got 2016, we got Batman v Superman Suicide Squad, and people were like, oh, maybe this is going to be not great. And really ever since then, it's been a lot of missteps. Aquaman's fun. Wonder Woman, the first one, is good. I don't think they made a second one. I will believe that they didn't make a second one. But yeah, yes and no. There's a lot of good stuff going on, but just if you're asking, does the DCEU work? Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Certain moments from certain movies work.
yeah. People are
Yeah.
probably not going to be. Some people are probably not going to be very happy with me immediately answering no, I don't like the DCEU, when I'm about to say I have not seen almost all of them. But today I've watched like 5 minutes of a lot of them, and then just been like, okay, this is not working for me. And today I sat down and tried to watch all of Batman v Superman, and I did not manage to watch all of it. I just never managed to watch them all, any of them, which should not be the case. I thought
Right.
Batman v Superman was okay. Like even past all the like, there are some glaring points that are like absurd, but beyond all that, I stopped it because I was like, you know what, this is fucking 3 hours long. I was watching the Ultimate Cut, and I was like, I had like an hour to go, and I was just like, you know what, I'm not invested in this like I should be. So I just gave up on it, unfortunately.
That movie
But it was
starts
okay.
off so
It was-
strong.
That's too bad.
It does. It starts off amazing. I was saying to you guys in the chat that the beginning where he's like, the bit where the building comes down and then he fucking runs into it is so perfectly Batman. There are points where like they get the character spot on, but I was just like, I don't know. It just didn't feel like, considering how much I love Batman and now Superman, with
Yeah.
like Marvel movies, when they did like even like Guardians of the Galaxy meeting the Avengers for the first time and stuff, I was like, in a little small way, I was just excited for like the interactions between them. I was like, shit, this has been like, both these movies have been like set up, and now they're finally meeting. It's crazy, and I was just excited to see them interact, and I was not getting that at all with that movie. I was just not very invested or excited.
Well, that's the big issue, is that they jump the gun on so much. And I get why, like, it's a
Yeah.
business, you gotta catch up to Marvel in a way, but,
Yeah,
you know, I mean, not at the expense of the quality. I mean, good grief. Because, I mean, now it's
Yeah.
like, it's
Yeah.
over, you know, like, now it's over. The Snyder Cut's coming out, and there's not gonna be a Justice League 2, you know,
Don't count your chickens.
rapidly demand it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
mean,
I didn't
if-
think the Snyder Cut was going to be a thing, so I guess I should shut my mouth.
yeah,
Yeah,
man. The whole time I was saying it was not going to happen. I was going to say the problem, but really for DC, I mean, this is if I was their only audience. It's not their problem; it's their solution. When you mentioned the Batman and like them just doing separate things with their characters, for now, I am totally on board with that. More so than Marvel, to be honest. I'm kind of a little burned out on the Marvel movies, and I don't plan on. I can't remember the last time I've like watched one right when it came out. Whereas like the Batman, I'm so fucking excited for. It looks great.
yeah,
And now there's news of this Superman movie, and they're going in like a different direction, and there's going to be a black Superman. I'm really fucking excited for that too. So, I mean, it's good news for DC, but bad news for the DCEU, I guess. I have no interest in that anymore.
yeah, it's not going to be the Marvel universe. It sounds like.
No,
Yeah,
but I genuinely, I
but-
don't really want it to be. I think I would be much more.
Not necessarily a bad
Excited.
thing.
I'm gonna be a DC boy if they keep doing, if the Batman works out like it looks like it's gonna. Which again, it's a trailer. You know, you can make a trailer look good, but
Mhm.
See,
if it's as good as it
Suicide
looks-
Squad.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then you can just make the whole movie look and feel like the trailer, and everyone loves it.
So it's one thing if you have a couple of duds here and there. Every film franchise truly does. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there aren't. I mean, for every Godfather 1 and 2, there's a Godfather 3. There's one that won't live up to the legend.
Oh, poor Godfather 3.
Poor Godfather 3. but in truth, like, that's okay and acceptable in any film franchise. But when your first two outings are poorly received takes on two of the most famous superheroes of all time,
Mm-hmm.
you should have quit while you were ahead. And that sucks
Yeah.
to say, because I truly think that Ben Affleck was perfect casting for Batman. I think that Henry Cavill was perfect casting for Superman. Hell, Jesse Eisenberg, I think, could have been an amazing Lex Luthor as well. But
Yeah.
I think they truly floundered the opportunity to really establish a strong franchise from the get-go. And they ended up literally running with their shoes tied together right from
Good way to put it.
the opening shot, you know?
Yeah.
I am strongly of the opinion. I guess we could get into this a little more later, maybe, or now. I'm of the opinion that they should not have started with the characters they started with at all, and
Oh, really?
I can see why
For
they
Justice
did.
League?
Obviously, no, not really for Justice League. They should have just built to Justice League longer, which I guess Avengers had already happened and was happening. So you can see why they were like, shit, we need to get our core characters out. But if they'd have just started with some, like, I mean, you could still start with big characters. Start with Wonder Woman. If they had opened with the Wonder Woman movie, they
Mhm.
could have, it could have gone a whole different way. Like, if the Wonder Woman movie as it
Yeah.
is had been what they started with, people would have been fucking excited.
Yeah. Well, okay. Here's my problem with the DCEU is that when I was excited about it up until I saw Man of Steel, but before Man of Steel came out, the Dark Knight trilogy had come out. It was mostly pretty great. That third one wasn't as strong as I would have liked it to be, but whatever. But when they said that Christopher Nolan was producing this Superman movie, I thought, oh my gosh, we're going to get the Dark Knight universe, but with all the other characters. And I was like, I am so on board. It wasn't until the movie came out that I thought, okay, this is not the same thing. This is like I think one of you guys said, Fast and the Furious, which is not what Christopher Nolan does. So it's kind of hard for me to imagine that Christopher Nolan did anything but stamp his name on the movie, which is fine. It's not his fault. But I think.
But I also don't think they should have done. Because I was hearing when Man of Steel came out and people were being like, "Oh yeah, Christopher Nolan's involved." I mean, I was kind of young, so I didn't really have these opinions then. I don't really know what I was talking about then. But in hindsight, I don't think they should have been like, yeah, let's introduce like Christopher Nolan's Batman into the Justice League. That just would not have worked.
Yeah, but I think the tone and everything would have been nice, maybe.
Yeah,
I agree with that, and it makes sense at the time that they thought, well, Superman's the next character to introduce. At the time, I think if anybody had said you should do Wonder Woman next, they would have scoffed.
Oh,
Though
definitely.
I think they could have pulled it off. I'd be curious if anybody suggested it. But, I think there was a point where, for whatever reason, they might have thought Wonder Woman wasn't a movie people were necessarily going to want to go see. It just never made sense to me.
They definitely did think that.
As somebody who grew up on the Linda Carter TV show, man, I love that show. I would, and yeah, but Superman's the first superhero, and having him show up first, it makes sense. But it just, but then it just kind of went sideways. It was all eye candy, and there wasn't anything emotionally to get invested in, and that was when it lost me.
See, for me, Jason Momoa is both eye candy and something to be invested in. So.
Yeah, it's great. Quick, I like certain individual movies. For me, the Captain Marvel movie I think is awesome. The Shazam, rather.
Oh yeah.
Like a humorous movie with kids is like I'm on it, dude. You know, the kid laugh is the best laugh, as they say. And
Do
I
they say
think they
that?
got that character right. And what's that?
Nothing.
I,
I've never
I
heard
heard
that as
Jerry
an expression.
Seinfeld say that once. And he was like, "I'm a comedian now, but I just make my kids laugh," and I was like, "That's awesome." And he was
Oh,
like, "Because the kid laugh is the best laugh." And yeah, but I thought that was a charming and fun direction that they went with it, and it was great. But I didn't want to see a billion spin-offs of it either. As opposed to like all the Marvel movies, the way they're so interconnected, the rollout has been so slow, and it's just so good that DC's. I don't know how they're ever going to live up to competing with that. They could do it, but man,
I mean, they just have to make individual really good movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Now that they
'Cause-
seem like, for a while, they seemed like they were on the verge of doing that, and I don't know. I kind of almost hope that Justice League doesn't do well, because if it does, they will be like, we have to go back to that.
Right.
I think it would be cool if Justice League was good, the new one, but I don't think that means they should do more.
I
Please
want
don't do
the
more of
Snyder
those.
Cut to be good. I really do, just because like I'm gonna spend 4 hours watching it. I want it to be good. I know it's not gonna be incredible because like we've seen the movie, you know.
Yeah.
I don't have this belief that it's gonna be this vastly different experience. Like we've seen Justice League, we know what it is. So I mean, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. But yeah, even if it's like somehow amazing, I think they should take it as a win and just keep doing what they're doing now.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't take a step backwards. I think take the lesson away from it that maybe don't get as involved. Trust your directors and your writers to tell the story because that's just from what I can tell. And I mean I'm not a movie guy. It just seems like that's been a huge issue, especially with those early films. Suicide Squad in particular.
what do you mean you're not a movie guy? What is that? What do you mean by that?
I mean, I don't like work in the industry. I don't really know what all goes into making the movies or really the story of like Justice League in particular. But it seems like these movies and the rumors are that like the studio guys just have their hands all over every bit of them, which is to be expected.
It's art by committee, and that's what's hard.
Right.
That's why you've got it so good in comics, is that when it boils down to it, even if you're doing the X-Men or Batman and have editorial breathing down your neck, you still basically one of 4 people working on this character. Whereas, the problem with the studio execs having their fingers in everything is that they're paying for everything and stuff's super expensive, and you gotta have a meeting for every single thing you do.
Yeah.
Right, when you're spending
I'm amazed
300
that
whatever $1 million on these, like the Justice League costs so much money. It's like one of the most expensive movies ever made, and it's an absolute travesty of a movie, so like I get it. Which is why I'm shocked that we're getting a Snyder Cut. I'm absolutely
I know. I am too. But I'm also just simply amazed when any movie gets made, because it's so complicated that it's like, I could never be a movie maker. Like that is so much work. And it's great when people do it. But when you see what's behind the curtain, it's real eye-opening. It's like, wow, man, they got a lot to deal with.
Well, interestingly, we're talking about films by committee and the hand that producers have in making a project what it is. What do you guys think about Zack Snyder from the beginning being chosen to be the spearhead for the first attempt at a connected DC film franchise?
Well, I thought when they selected him for Man of Steel, it made sense. Because again, we've got to remember where we were at least with Superman in 2010, 2011, whenever they announced that. We had just come off of Superman Returns, which people didn't think was just an awful movie, but people were like, fuck, that movie was boring. And so Warner Brothers heard that and said, okay, well, we'll get the guy that did 300 to make a Superman movie, which is just such an extreme overreaction. But like, I get it, you know. And he had done Watchmen for him, and you know, and Watchmen wasn't really a resounding success of a movie or anything, but like, you know, he had ties, and you know, the move makes sense. And you know the movies are gonna look gorgeous, and they're going to look different from what Marvel was doing.
Yeah.
So I think on paper it makes sense. I don't know that he was necessarily the right guy, but I get how he ended up there.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I liked Man of Steel. I didn't love it, but I also am not that invested in Superman, or you know, it definitely wasn't at the time. So I probably would have been more mad if it was like a Batman movie. But yeah, I can see why they started with him. I can't see why they decided to helm the franchise off his back, because it didn't do well. And then I'm sure he's a lovely guy. I want to preface it by saying this. And also, he's a far better filmmaker than I could ever be. But they're not asking me to helm a franchise. And I'm not sure why no one sat down and like did some counting and wasn't like, actually, Zack Snyder has never made a great movie.
Yeah.
Right. Like a great movie.
300 is so good, though.
Is it?
It's not a great movie. It is. I love that movie, though. I love 300. It's just the most badass movie.
Well, but it's probably really accurate to the comic, and I think with this stuff they were
exactly. That's why Watchmen was okay. Watchmen was all right because he stuck to the comic almost by the letter, and the elements where he didn't fucked it up,
or where it doesn't work. Exactly. Yeah. I like Man of Steel. I enjoyed it. It's not a perfect movie, but there's so much of that I really like. And so I was disappointed when BVS came out. I was super excited before it came out, of course. But I was disappointed when it came out that it wasn't... Even the first hour of that movie, it's Man of Steel 2. And then it just turns into... You know, it's called Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. And at some point in the movie, it turns... It turns into Dawn of Justice. Like, I took that as like Batman v Superman : Dawn of Justice is the title of the movie. But really, it's two movies. The first half is Batman v Superman, and the second half is Dawn of Justice. And they're like reading emails, and
the emails.
You know, they're reading emails and watching like GIFs of the Flash or whatever. You know, but the first half where it's like Man of Steel, like the opening sequence of that movie where it's Man of Steel, but from Bruce Wayne's perspective, is such a great way to open that. And then they just abandon Man of Steel after that. In a lot of ways, and I think that was, you know, something that really bugged me. In watching the movie, but make a Man of Steel 2, I think.
Yeah, that would be good. I would like to do that.
I have a question for you.
I wouldn't do that.
Nate is the resident Superman fanatic. Did it shock you that they didn't use the classic Christopher Reeve Superman theme for Man of Steel? Because I was like, that alone would make this 100 times better for me.
No, it didn't shock me, and I get why they didn't. I agree. Like it would be really good if they had, but I feel like with the score they had to make a choice. Probably, they had to make a choice if the Superman score was almost going to be like the James Bond music. And it was going to be, no matter what the movie was, that was the music. They had to make a choice of if that's what the score was going to be, or if they were going to do a new one.
Well, also,
and I think the choice, I agree with the choice to not use the music, because that's just not what the movie is.
Yeah, and I think they would have, if they were making it now, they would have 100% put it in.
You think so?
But like back then, that's not what they were trying to do, and that's not what, like, there wasn't this thing of like nostalgia quite as much as there is now, I think.
Could be, yeah.
Well, because even in Justice League, they use that music, and they use the old Batman theme.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in like one instance for each of those. Yeah, they did.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's like
no.
one
No, I
scene
don't
where
see it.
Batman is introduced with the old, you know,
Tim Burton.
well, cause
The Tim
oh
Burton
God,
or the
what's his
Adam
name?
West?
The
The
Tim Burton
no,
one.
no, no,
Who?
no.
Oh my God, who did the music?
Wow.
Danny Elfman.
Danny Elfman.
Danny
Yeah,
Elfman.
Danny Elfman scored Justice League, the theatrical cut.
Ah,
And
interesting.
so he did use those themes, and there's like they
Huh.
do like a twist on it when Superman's like all evil and shit. They
Oh wow.
like that the last note of like the Superman, like the first little bit of the Superman theme is like it's like an accidental, it's like a wrong note, so you know something's wrong.
Oh,
Yeah.
But they do use it, and I did kind of geek out the first time I saw Justice League.
With his track record on 300 and Watchmen, it's like, oh, he can faithfully adapt this medium, this comic book property into a film adaptation. Like he can do that like well and with market success. Like those movies performed well.
yeah.
But
Did they?
300 definitely did. 300 made a lot of money.
Yeah, 300
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think Watchmen did okay. And it also, I was thinking
Yeah.
about this. It kind of it did put all of that into the public like image. Like no one would know who Rorschach was without that movie. So it must have done okay. I don't remember, but surely it did okay because people know who they are, and it's like a cultural thing now, whereas it wouldn't have been before.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
do remember when that movie came out, people having an issue of like not knowing like what it was.
Yeah,
I don't know
including
how it
critically.
performed financially, but I mean it, you know, critically it did like not great, but okay. And so I'm sure financially it probably performed in that same, you know, same kind of realm, but you know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
Anyway, yeah, you were saying.
yeah, with regards to Zack Snyder, what's fascinating to me is like, okay, he does Man of Steel, and it's met with, you know, critical malaise. You know, it's not loved outright, but it's not hated outright. People were like, it's not my Superman, but it's not the worst movie ever. Like nobody, I don't think many people hate outright Man of Steel.
No.
And I don't think the critical performance reflects that at all either. I think it was, you know, fairly well received by the general public. So like giving him a sequel, it's like, okay, makes sense. And he wants to bring in Batman. He's probably much more impassioned about Batman, which from every interview I've ever seen, it sounds like he cares a lot more about Batman than he does Superman. So like,
Very clear in the movies.
yeah. And then Batman v Superman comes out. Yeah. And then Batman v Superman comes out, and it is just panned almost universally, except for the niche diehard that truly loves Zack Snyder's vision for the DC pantheon.
And they think it's like a, you know, like a masterpiece, which is odd.
Well,
But,
and,
yeah.
yeah, and that's okay. Like I'm all for anybody liking what they like, but I can't wrap my head around, and I don't know if I ever will be able to, why they stuck with him for Justice League. Like, why give him the reins to the next movie in the franchise when, for example, Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman came out before Justice League was filmed? Why didn't they get Patty Jenkins?
Well,
Because it was
they immediately started Justice League when Batman v Superman was over, and they were course correcting as the reviews for Batman v Superman were coming out.
right.
Which is always how you make a good movie.
Right. They were
course.
like in the middle of Justice League, and they were like, wait, people hate this. Wait, people fucking hate this. And you know, the mistake is not just finishing that movie.
Yeah.
Like you're making that movie, just make it. Because the problem with Batman v Superman is not the tone. It's not that Superman never smiles, even though that is an issue. But that's not the issue. The problem is that it just doesn't fucking make sense.
Yeah.
So much of the plot is just like extra shit. That's the problem. People wouldn't care if it was a quote unquote dark and gritty movie, because that's the terminology people always use. If it was good. You know?
This was what I was saying on the chat earlier. Like, I had heard a lot about it being, you know, over the top, dark and gritty, and I was like, okay, well, I was wondering what the deal with that was, because I keep going back to it, and it's literally just a fucking trailer. But the Batman trailer is like absurdly moody, and like super goth. He's got fucking the eye makeup on and the hair. and it looks fucking great because they're like leaning into it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, how moody is this going to be that I don't like it? Because I like moody, gothy shit. And I was saying to you guys, for me, it's partially the length goes into this, but it's not moody as much as it is like dreary. It's just like everyone's like, it's just a fucking slog. Like, it's not like syrupy moody. It's just like 3 hours long of just like, oh fuck, okay, let's keep going with this wherever. And I don't know how to pinpoint it. The best way I can say it is it's not moody, it's dreary. It's just ugh.
But yeah, there's that story, and I don't know how true it is. There's a story of that they screened Batman v Superman before it was released to like the Warner Brothers like studio heads or whatever, and it received a standing ovation. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's a story that came out. And so, you know, if that's their perception what the movie is before people actually see it, of course they're gonna have Zack Snyder go in and do Justice League because they think it's a masterpiece. And then people disagreed with them, and they were like, "Oh no, wait."
Who did they test audience it in front of? Just regular people, or were they studio execs? Or
The story that I heard was that it was like Warner Brothers people.
Oh well, there you go.
And they just absolutely adored it. And like I said, the story was that it received a standing ovation. Again, I don't know how true that is.
I did hear about it receiving standing ovation before it came out because I was then really excited.
Yeah. You know,
it was the same way. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be
always
fair,
clap the loudest and laugh the loudest at the jokes, and you're like, dude, you're not fooling anybody.
Yeah, to be fair to Warner Brothers, after that, I would be so fucking pissed at all that standing ovation. I'll be like, what the fuck were you doing? Don't tell me what you think I want to hear.
Right.
Everyone hates this movie now. You gave us standing ovations. What are you doing?
To flip the switch a little bit, before we get into more negative opinions about the entirety of the DCEU, because I know we do have a lot of them, but in all fairness, there's a lot that truly worked in the DCEU. And I wanted to get your opinions on what some of those elements were. Worked, what didn't work for you?
There are elements of Ben Affleck's Batman that work for me a lot.
Absolutely, yeah.
Henry Cavill looks a lot like Superman. And a lot of the times acts like Superman. This was one thing. I didn't know whether it was... when I watched Batman v Superman, which is obviously, unfortunately, all I have to go on because I've not even bothered to give Justice League a go. I had heard a lot, and I watched the Ultimate Cut, and I had heard a lot of stuff about the bit where he's at the court hearing and then it blows up, and then he just looks moody and then flies away. And so I was waiting for that to happen, and it blew up, and I was like, "Oh shit! Is he seriously just going to fly away?" No one could possibly think that's very Superman-y, right? And then he does save people, so I don't know whether it's not in the normal cut.
That was not in the theatrical cut. Him saving the people afterwards, they cut that out.
Right.
They cut the Superman,
and they make a note to say Superman was saving people, and then he left.
Yeah, they cut Superman saving people out of the movie.
Right. Because
which makes sense.
It was good when he was saving the people. That made sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't make as much sense when he then I didn't finish the movie, but why did he leave? Because they were then like, there was a news thing where they were like, Superman was helping save people, and now he has left.
Well, and just the quick fix to that scene is because there's like the paramedic that says, "All right, man, I got it from here," and he seems kind of like weirded out that Superman's even saving anyone.
Yeah.
Just give him a throwaway line where he's like, "That was the last person in the building," or
Yeah,
give him a throwaway line.
I thought that was why he flew away.
Yeah, that way he's not like, because you're wondering after he flies away, wait, are there still people in there? Because Superman would save those people.
Yeah,
even
and
if he's
also
upset that people don't like him.
Another little fix would be just have him do that quicker. Because my image of Superman is something like that happens. Right afterwards, you see Superman like zipping in and out, like all over the fucking place, and he just wasn't. He was like, this is a little minor gripe, because it's good that in the Ultimate Cut they did add him saving people, but he was still saving people very fucking leisurely.
Pretty slowly, yeah.
And I feel like Superman would be like a blur of just like, he would be in charge. He wouldn't just be like, you know,
Well,
I guess I'll get this person out.
Where it shows the Senate hearing room, and he's obviously the only person that hasn't just been incinerated. I do like the moment where he just looks like just absolutely defeated that this happened, and he was there.
Oh, yeah, that's really good. See, that's one of the moments that's I was trying to remember what our original point was. That's a moment where I was like, yep, that's really Superman. Despite everyone saying, you know, he doesn't smile enough, it's kind of a moody movie where a lot of like shitty stuff happens to him. And stuff like that was really Superman, for him to just look around and be like, fuck. Like, to be really unhappy with that happening.
Yeah, you can just... And I wish that they would have played it up even more. Like, fuck, have him, like, tear up or, like, fall to his knees or something. Like, just absolutely let me know that kills him, you know?
But yeah, I do think he was a really good Superman. And yeah, the moodiness of him and him being not smiling was not really the problem with it.
What do you guys think about not just Batman v Superman, but to extend it throughout the whole universe, the casting of the Justice League?
I was gonna say that was gonna be like my big thing. I love the casting.
Yeah, me too.
The casting is one of the best thing. I mean, you know, Gal Gadot is not the greatest actress in the world, but she's good as Wonder Woman, you know? I don't know. She's not so good that I couldn't imagine anyone else playing that character, but I like her, you know?
Yeah.
I think she's good. Jason Momoa as Aquaman is just so fun. He's so fun. And he's the obvious choice for the... Because you got to think about how, like, this is the first on-screen Aquaman we've, like, ever got. You know, I mean...
Yeah.
He was, like, on Smallville or whatever, but, like, most people's image of Aquaman is Super Friends. So you go out and you hire...
the hot guy from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, fucking...
Drogo.
Khal Drogo or whatever from Game of Thrones to be him. And all of a sudden he's a badass immediately.
Yeah, it's a great
Which
move.
is great.
I don't
Ezra
love
Miller
Ezra
is
Miller
the Flash. I wanted to like it because I like Ezra Miller.
I really like Ezra Miller.
As an actor, and I feel like a lot of his stuff was changed in the Joss Whedoning of Justice League. I really liked in Batman v Superman, they introduced him and he still has his long, just like hair that Ezra Miller had. He has like a beard, and I was like, fuck it, yeah, just
make him
have to look like Barry Allen. Fuck it, yeah, fine.
Yeah, actually, I agree with that, because when they introduced him in BVS, of course, like that was back during my prime Flash fan days. Like, I was buying every monthly book. Even I was like, I'm all on board for this. Like, he's not Barry Allen from the comics, but if they combine elements of like Wally West or even Jay Garrick into who this Barry Allen is, I'm for it.
You know, and they also had the Flash show on, and so I thought that might have been a way to distinguish him from Grant Gustin, is like just make him look different.
Yeah.
I think the choice should have been make him Wally West, but
guys, on that note, I will ask you if you could change elements from the existing DCEU, and I want to preface this with the notion that you can't go back and say, okay, well, my take on the DC universe is we open and, you know, we're not going all the way back to rewrite the DC movies. But if you could make small adjustments here and there throughout the trajectory of the films, what would you have done differently? Because for me, I would have done something along the lines of, as much as I really did not like Wonder Woman 2, and I will still hold this opinion even though I held it prior to seeing that Garbage Fire. I think that the fact that they didn't get Patty Jenkins to step on immediately on Justice League, as opposed to Joss Whedon, who had no connection to the franchise, they only got him because he had made the other successful superhero team up, which is not a reason to hire anybody.
Made sense at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, like, just from a narrative perspective, like I would have rather have seen Patty Jenkins finish what was the original version of Justice League, or
Well, and she
something
and Zack
close to
Snyder
it.
had a good relationship too,
Yeah,
so it does make way more sense.
but that would have been one of my immediate changes. In
Yeah.
if I could turn back time, if I could find a way.
Important question.
I would not have started. Yeah, can I reorder? Is that allowed?
Yeah, absolutely. That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your
Okay,
real?
I would have started with this is with the benefit of hindsight and knowing how successful the movies were. Started with Wonder Woman, then done Man of Steel, and then shit from there. If you're working off of the actual existing movies, do Batman v Superman better?
Well, what is your reasoning for putting Wonder Woman first, out of curiosity?
Well, this is my thinking of like if you were going to make that universe successful. I think, given the relative success of Wonder Woman, that would have been a pretty good place to start. From there, and you're not starting with like they already had, like the Dark Knight movies, which were great, but I guess it all kind of part of it all started with Marvel doing well, and then them being like, shit, well, people liked Batman, we got to start with Batman shit and Superman shit. But if they'd relaxed on that and just started with Wonder Woman, and people would have realized they were starting a cinematic universe, I think they would have been on a better footing, and they could have then not, because obviously I've just said that it doesn't go well when you go entirely off of like backtracking and audience responses, but they might have known where to go and the kind of direction to go from, given the success of Wonder Woman, if it was their first movie. And then from there, they could have just made their own tweaks on the lack of success on Batman v Superman. How about just get someone who likes Batman and Superman and doesn't only like Batman when he's super extreme and kills people.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think Mike, you and I have a similar sort of like fix on Batman v Superman.
Don't ever compare us to each other again.
Well, I'm gonna. But yeah, I think I was really excited when they announced that movie because I was excited to see Batman in the villain role in a Superman sequel. That's what I thought he was going to be. That it was going to be Man of Steel 2, but instead of introducing Brainiac or Lex Luthor or whatever, the villain was going to be Batman. And I really don't have a problem with Batman turning maybe darker. I don't think he kills goons throughout the movie, but I think I can see him being driven to a point where like maybe he wants to kill Superman because he doesn't know another way to deal with it if he does think he's a threat. And I have a couple like tweaks that you can make to Man of Steel to make that a little bit more believable for Batman. Like if Superman was established in Man of Steel and Zod showed up and said, "Hey, we're Kryptonians. We're going to make we're going to colonize the North Pole or whatever." And maybe Superman was on board for a while until like he learns that they're going to kill everyone. But then, in BVS, Batman is like, "Hey, you were totally complicit in, the annihilation of 1 million people or whatever. I don't trust you, even though you, like, quote unquote, you saved us. Everyone is cool with you now, but I don't trust you." You take Lex Luthor out of Batman v Superman, and the issue is with man versus, is God good or bad?
Yeah, which goes back to why that opening is really good. If they'd like leaned into that more, because right from the opening, it seemed like before they even put the fucking titles up, they have that opening with Batman looking at the destruction. And when I watched it today, I was like, okay, I can see why Batman and Superman are going to fight. You can see the hatred in Batman's eyes, and you're like, yeah, no, I get it. From that
and they add all this other shit to it.
Yeah, this weird shit that doesn't need to be there.
See, I'll tell you one thing I'm sick of, and that is the antagonistic relationship between Batman and Superman. I think it
Yes.
has its place, but there's a point where I'm like, dude, all right, knock it off. You guys
Yep.
are the world's
Let's see them
finest.
be buddies.
Yeah, no,
I
they're
wanna
they're
see 'em be
buddies.
buddies.
They're
Yeah.
buddies.
Yeah. The
And I
Justice,
wouldn't
the Bruce
mind
Timm
it.
Justice League really explores that in a great ways. Anyway, sorry,
Well,
Nate.
and in the animated show when they first meet, they don't really get along, and you get to see them grow to be allies, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what happens in BVS, not as well done. But I
Yeah.
don't mind them fighting if we do get to see them grow into allies, and you understand why they're allies and why they had beef to begin with.
Yeah.
But yeah, in those movies, it just gets really convoluted and dumb and
Yeah.
frustrating. That movie should be like the only main big larger than life characters should be Batman and Superman. The most recent thing with the DCEU is like, how the fuck did they mess up Wonder Woman 1984?
Yeah,
know?
that's insane. It's insane how it wasn't a success.
You know what I would do with a Wonder Woman sequel, and it's obvious, but it just begs the question. So she shows up in World War One, and there's some continuity issues where, like in Batman v Superman, she's like, I turned my back on humanity for 100 years, and it's like, well, but you also showed up in 1984. Just have her sort of like covertly doing things. Like, did she fight in World War II? Did she try and intervene like in Vietnam? Like what was she doing? But instead we have to watch her fight an oil guy in the 80s?
Yeah.
Show me what she was doing when the Nazis were a thing.
Yeah.
You'd think she'd have something to say, right?
And I think in 1984, I think that they like show a photo or something of her in World War II or around the 40s or something. I'm like, okay, well, that's definitely a more interesting movie than the one I'm watching.
Huh.
Where she just doesn't like an oil guy that has a magic rock.
And wishes. There's some wishes, right? I still haven't seen it.
Yeah,
Something to do with wishes.
The dude like turns into wishes or something. I don't know what happened with
it's
that movie.
it's something
Looks like
alright.
it turned into wishes.
Oh.
But guys, talking about Wonder Woman 84 brings me to the last thing I wanted to talk about real quick before we get into the outro here. Wonder Woman 84 really soured me on the future of the DCEU.
Absolutely.
And I think with the success of Joker, which I think is a film I don't need to see more than a couple times every now and then. I've seen it once in theaters, and I thought that was a really great movie. And I said, okay, I don't need to watch it anytime soon.
Yeah, but it's so dark, yeah.
Same way with The Batman. I'm excited for initiative from DC to take artisans in their craft and give them the helm of these characters and not worry about whether it's going to connect to the Joker movie that takes place in the 80s. They're just making good movies. Like that's what their plan seems to be.
I was saying in the beginning of the episode, I comics wise, I like DC comics better, and the way they seem to be going with just making whatever movie and letting the creators do their thing, that would make it for me more interesting than Marvel movies. I would much prefer that. So yeah, if they stop the whole DCEU thing, I would be very excited for what they're going to do.
I would say good on them for just calling it a day. You tried. And as far as like catching up to Marvel, which is of course what they were trying to do, you just never will now. Like they did it, After Endgame came out, I was like, no one can do it again.
Yeah, and
they
I'm also
did it like to completion.
yeah, and they don't even need to be like feel bad about it. I'm like, nope. I can understand why the studio did that, because Marvel movies came out and then everyone fucking loved them, and they were like, shit. Well, our superheroes came first, and some people think better. Of course, they would try and do the same thing. That no one would begrudge them trying to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think just be like, no, you know what? We're gonna do our own thing. We're gonna hold our heads up high about it. Please just do that, DC.
Well, I just want them to learn the right lessons from their failures. That's what frustrates me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
Marvel made
movies never learn the right lessons from failures or successes.
sometimes they do. I mean, they like we talked about. Marvel made a couple clunker-ish Hulk movies, but then they kind of finally got them right.
Yeah, I mean, and Warner Brothers has just been so reactionary for so long. It is nice to see them
Yeah.
go, you know what, we're just gonna kind of start over with a clean slate and try and make a movie that works and go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. I don't know.
But that, yeah, but if they do that, then like the flops don't matter then. Because if they're just doing like whatever the creators want to do, they bring out a movie and it's not that good, and they're just like, oh well, on to the next one. It's another creative like thing, which is like that one didn't work, but it's not part of some huge thing. So let's see how the next one does.
Right.
They're in a much better position that way, I think.
Yeah, because you don't have baggage at that point between movies.
Exactly.
I mean, you do have the baggage of like it's a DC movie and a Warner Brothers movie, but not the baggage of like, well, now we have to kind of ask people to go watch this shitty movie because the next one is a sequel to this shitty movie that everyone hated.
Yeah.
Because even if they came out with like a Justice League 2, a proper sequel, you still have the first one just being an absolute piece of shit. Sorry, that was really harsh, but
What do you mean?
This has come out of nowhere, Nate. This whole episode we've been nothing but complimentary.
yeah. Well, it turns out I hate it. I can't hold it in anymore.
Well, to hold Nate back and before we let him go on a tirade where he just belittles Zack Snyder, we'll get into the outro here. Nate, how did your Superman piece turn out?
I did it. I did it.
Nice.
I'm done with it. There's definitely some things that I could probably tweak, but as far as like my pencils go and where I was gonna get with this drawing, like I did it. I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, that looks very Henry Cavill.
Thank you. Yeah, that was my biggest concern was like trying to get the likeness because that like if the likeness works, the drawing works. And that was my biggest concern with doing just a portrait of Henry Cavill and drinking beers with you guys and trying to then draw it. Was if it was gonna work or not. But yeah, no, I'm feeling it.
Likenesses are really hard.
They are, yeah, they really are. Even when like I said, I had it penciled out and it looked like him, but it always just turns into another monster when you try and go over it with ink. But I'm happy with this one. I'm happy with this one.
Good. That's great.
Yeah, it looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
But Nate, man, it looks fantastic. And of course, your love of Superman is coming through once again on another Superman drawing. And the Cavill likeness is done to perfection. Just excellent.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Great work all around. But guys, to keep moving around, Johnny, how did Steppenwolf go?
Well, very well. I'm actually really happy with this one. I didn't know how much of this I was going to get done in the episode because my experience from doing these like etching-y kind of drawings is that they take fucking ages because obviously, like I was saying, unrecorded, like I'm so used to just drawing normally. And like, for example, if you just draw a circle, you've got a circle there, whereas drawing it this way, you have to like, you'd have to etch in all of the white of the circle rather than the black that you've drawn in a very simplistic way of putting it. So these take a while, and you don't always know whether it's working until quite late into it and you've put a few hours in. But this one's going really well. I managed to get all of Steppenwolf done. I'll zoom in on him a little bit.
Oh,
Awesome.
yeah, man.
Yeah, so I went with like it was really tough to do. He's like, so I went for like the Snydercut one where his like armor is like made of blades or whatever it is.
Yeah, he's like all needly. Yeah.
Yeah, so I like went for that because that's a cool look, and that was the whole reason really for me doing it this way was because when I was thinking of drawing Steppenwolf, I was just like, okay, well it'd be almost easier to draw in the white in all these needly things.
Oh, right, yeah.
And yeah, it's coming out really good. I've drawn his pile of bones there that he's standing on, and that went pretty well. And I pretty much just have background to go. and that's going to be like I've gone for a Gustav Dory kind of thing. So the background is mostly just going to be like you can see there's like he's standing in the middle of like a mountainy range. The mountains are going to be all black, so I just have to do this little V shape of the sky behind, and I'll be done. I think pretty much. It's gone well. I'm happy with it.
Hell yeah, man!
Amazing drawing.
Yeah,
Thanks,
it
man.
looks really good, dude.
Oh man, thank you.
But guys, to jump around, Teacher Todd, how's your Aquaman turning out?
Okay, let's see here. Better turn up the brightness. It's interesting. I'm definitely not close to being done. I've got a ways to go, but it's fun. I like it.
I'm digging it.
Yeah, that's a cool design.
The hair is great. You know, that like underwater flow is really coming through.
I might look up some reference for like hair underwater because right now I'm making stuff up as I go along. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
From here, it looks very underwater though. I don't know. I'm not seeing it up close, but it looks good and underwater. It doesn't look like
His hair should be floating. So yeah.
Yeah, I can see how with the shape, with the way it's going like up like that, and obviously the color. If it was me, I would be like, I have to make this not look like Dragon Ball Z. And you've definitely managed to avoid that. You've managed to swerve that real nice.
I hadn't thought of that, but you are correct, sir.
But Todd, the design is excellent. Your style is phenomenal as always.
Thank you.
Super cool. I would love to see this animated or in a series of its own.
Yeah.
Oh, stay tuned. Not for this, but yeah, I have something interesting I'm working on. So, anyways.
Well, I can't wait to hear about that, man. But to finalize the episode, guys, I'll wrap around to mine real quick. Definitely got way more done than I was expecting to in the line work. As you can see, I got this Atlantean sculpture head done, the shark done, Aquaman done, this shark done, this pillar done.
I love that shark, man.
Thank you. I'll be honest. We always talk about Batman being one of those great graphic shapes. Sharks are one of the other ones. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So much fun to draw a shark.
Yeah. Sharks are amazing. Fish in general are actually really fun to draw.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
are, but not always easy, especially from that background angle where he's facing the viewer. That can be a tough angle for a shark.
Yeah.
You've nailed it.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Reference.
Yeah, no, I definitely did not draw these from memory in full.
God, no.
Yeah.
Who could?
The problem with sharks and horses, or fish and horses, is that you have to figure out where the eyes and the nose and the mouths go, because otherwise you realize you'd never taken good enough look, and you end up drawing people.
Yeah.
And they're not people.
That's a great point, man.
The things you learn.
Actually, one thing I messed up on in the beginning of the episode was I was just going down Aquaman here, and I was inking his torso, and I started inking his abs until I realized that his trident is right there. I totally forgot that there was an element that goes right from it. So I totally started inking like this whole element in here. But luckily I can just white that out really easily because luckily it's where the highlight of the trident's going to be from the sun coming in from the waves above. Yeah. So it worked out just right. But I was doing it and then I was like, oh, these abs are turning out great. And then I looked down and I went, oh, wait, I gotta get rid of them.
It's always the worst.
No.
It's not just that it's a quick fix, but it's like you like the way the anatomy looks, and you're like, oh wait, shit, that is not in view. I hate that.
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to bring out the brush for the hair here because Momoa does have the locks. I'll have to reference Todd's piece for that underwater flow.
More good underwater flow, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, I'm excited for how this one's turning out. Still have to do this Atlantean sculpture and this shark back here. But then the waves, I have a cool effect in mind for how I'm going to attempt them. It could fail miserably. We'll see if I end up just blacking it out, but we'll find that out outside of the episode, guys, because that brings us to the end of episode 23 of Ink Drink Think. Guys, make sure you check out the comments below. Let us know what changes you would have made to the DCEU to make it work critically.
I'm gonna make another account that doesn't have my name on it. Johnny, if you get a lot of rude comments,
yeah,
dude, I don't even know what happened. It's not me.
Okay. Okay. I feel like you're setting something up here,
It's
but
Wait Nels.
I am stupid,
Okay,
so I don't know.
But guys, check out the description of this video where you can find the links to all of our Instagram pages as well as the official Ink Drink Think Instagram page, where you can check out the finalized pieces from this episode and every previous Ink Drink Think thus far. Guys, thank you for tuning in. As always, I've been your host, Michael Pickard, joined by my wonderfully talented co-hosts and friends, Johnny Wise, Nate Wells, and Todd Blackwood. We'll catch you guys in episode 24.